In 1986, the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off premiered immediately, creating a fever that swept through pop culture with a simple yet captivating story about a high school senior cutting class to explore. Chicago director John Hughes crafted a masterpiece celebrating freedom, friendship, and the fleeting nature of youth. It wasn't just a commercial blockbuster. It became a manifesto for a generation with the immortal line, "Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it." But behind those classic characters, the charming truant, the neurotic best friend, and the determined dean, were flesh and blood actors with very distinct fates. Nearly 40 years have passed, and time in its ruthless march has carved different marks upon their lives. Some rose to become television icons, or found late-blooming success, while others faced scandals, health battles, or quietly exited the stage of life. Today, let us turn back the pages of the tumultuous lives of the cast that created the soul of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Jeffrey Jones as Ed Rooney. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Ed Rooney is the antagonist we loved to hate. As the obsessively determined dean of students, Rooney's slapstick pursuit of Ferris was a comedic masterclass. Jeffrey Jones, with his imposing stature and expressive face, portrayed Rooney not just as a villain, but as a man, unraveling. From getting attacked by a dog to having his car towed, Jones's performance was a symphony of frustration. He captured the essence of an authority figure losing control, providing the perfect counterweight to Ferris's effortless charm. His comedic timing was impeccable, making Rooney one of the most memorable high school principals in cinema history. Using our background knowledge, we see that Jeffrey Jones was a highly respected character actor with a career that promised longevity and prestige. Before chasing Ferris, he had already delivered a Golden Globe-nominated performance as Emperor Joseph II in the Oscar-winning masterpiece, Amadeus, 1984. Jones possessed a gravitas that allowed him to move seamlessly between drama and comedy. Throughout the 90s, he remained a familiar face, appearing in major films like Beetlejuice, The Hunt for Red October, and Ed Wood. He was the kind of actor who elevated every scene. He was a dependable talent who seemed destined to age gracefully into the role of a Hollywood statesman. However, the script of his real life took a dark and tragic turn, shattering the image he had built. In 2002, a scandal erupted that would irrevocably tarnish his legacy. Jones was arrested on charges related to the possession of child pornography and the solicitation of a minor. The news shocked the industry and his fans. He pleaded no contest to a charge of soliciting a minor, a decision that placed him on the sex offender registry for life. This was not merely a career stumble, it was a catastrophic fall from grace. The offers dried up, and the industry that once embraced him turned its back. Jones retreated into the shadows, his presence in Hollywood becoming a whisper of what it once was. He appeared sporadically in very small roles, such as in the HBO series Deadwood, but the cloud of his legal troubles loomed large. His life became a cautionary tale of how personal demons can dismantle a lifetime of artistic achievement. Today, at the age of 78, Jeffrey Jones lives a life of near total obscurity. He is rarely seen in public, and has effectively retired from the screen, not by choice but by circumstance. The brilliant actor who once commanded the screen in Amadeus and made us laugh in Ferris Bueller is now defined by the scandal that ended his career, leaving behind a complicated legacy of undeniable talent overshadowed by unforgivable actions. Virginia Capers as Florence Sparrow. In the film, Florence Sparrow is the school nurse, a character who, though appearing briefly, leaves a lasting impression with her no-nonsense attitude and distinctive voice. Virginia Capers played Flo with a perfect blend of skepticism and empathy. She was the gatekeeper of the school's infirmary, engaging in a memorable telephone duel with Ferris's father. Her delivery of lines filled with suspicion, yet professional courtesy, added a layer of texture to the high school setting. Capers brought a sense of grounded reality to the heightened reality of the film, acting as a foil to the increasingly unhinged Ed Rooney. Beyond the halls of Shermer High School, Virginia Capers was a titan of the stage and a pioneer for African-American performers born in South Carolina and trained at Juilliard. She possessed a powerful, soulful voice that could shake the rafters. Before she was known to moviegoers, she had already conquered Broadway. In 1974, she won the prestigious Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical for her portrayal of Lena Younger in Raisin, the musical adaptation of A Raisin in the Sun. She was a force of nature, a woman who commanded respect the moment she entered a room. Her career was a rich tapestry of theater, jazz, and television. She was not just an actress. She was a storyteller and a songstress who toured with bands and brought the history of black music to life. On television, she became a familiar, comforting presence, often cast as the wise mother or grandmother figure, most notably appearing in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Hattie Banks Capers. Was deeply respected in the industry for her professionalism and her warm, nurturing spirit. She dedicated her life to the arts, breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations of black actresses. She founded the Lafayette Players West, a theater company designed to showcase black talent, demonstrating her lifelong commitment to her community. The connection between her role and her life is one of quiet authority. Florence Sparrow ran her infirmary with a firm hand, and Virginia Capers ran her career with the same unwavering strength and dignity. She was a woman who knew her worth and demanded excellence, both from herself and those around her. However, the final curtain eventually falls for even the most vibrant souls. On May 6, 2004, Virginia Capers passed away in Los Angeles due to complications from pneumonia at the age of 78. Her death marked the end of an era for theater and character acting. She left behind a legacy of strength song and a body of work that proved there are no small roles, only actors with big hearts. Larry Flash Jenkins as attendant's co-pilot. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Larry Flash Jenkins played the garage attendant's co-pilot, the man who, along with Richard Edson, takes Cameron's father's Precious 1961 Ferrari 250 GT, California, for a glorious airborne joyride. Though he had no lines of deep philosophical weight, the image of him launching that red convertible into the air to the Star Wars theme is one of the most iconic visual gags in 80s cinema. His infectious joy and reckless abandon in that scene embodied the very spirit of the movie, breaking the rules and living in the moment. Larry Jenkins, often credited as Larry Flash Jenkins, was a man of many talents who operated quietly but effectively within Hollywood. He was not just the guy in the Ferrari. He was a hard-working actor, director, and producer who built a solid career over decades. He appeared in other seminal films like Fletch alongside Chevy Chase, displaying a natural comedic timing that made him a favorite for casting directors looking for memorable supporting players. But Jenkins refused to be limited to just acting. He possessed a sharp mind for the business side of entertainment. He transitioned behind the camera, founding his own production companies, Flashworks Productions and Gold Coast Productions. He was passionate about storytelling, particularly stories that uplifted the African-American experience. He directed and produced gospel films and independent projects, mentoring young talent along the way. His life was a testament to hustle and versatility. He was a man who understood that in Hollywood you have to create your own opportunities. His colleagues described him as a bundle of energy, always pitching a new idea, always ready with a smile, much like the character who joyfully stole a Ferrari for an afternoon. The connection between his brief role and his life is symbolic of seizing the day, just as his character didn't hesitate to take the keys and drive. Larry Jenkins didn't hesitate to take control of his career and steer it in the direction he wanted. He lived life in the fast lane of creativity. Tragically, his ride came to a sudden stop. On April 25, 2019, Larry Flash Jenkins passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack in Los Angeles at the age of 63. His death came as a shock to his friends and fans. He left behind a legacy of laughter and a reminder that sometimes you just have to take the car for a spin and see where the road takes you. Cindy Pickett as Katie Bueller. Cindy Pickett played Katie Bueller, the doting, oblivious mother who bought Ferris's act hook, line, and sinker. With her gentle demeanor and worried eyes, she was the perfect enabler for Ferris's schemes. Pickett played the role with a sincerity that made her gullibility believable. She wasn't stupid, just blinded by love for her sick son. She represented the safety net that allowed Ferris to fly so high. In a charming twist of fate, life imitated art in the most romantic way. During the filming of the movie, Cindy Pickett fell in love with Lyman Ward, the actor who played her on-screen husband, Tom Bueller. They married in real life shortly after the film's release, creating a true Bueller family. For a time, they were a Hollywood power couple raising 2 children together. While their marriage eventually ended in divorce in 1992, the bond they formed remained a unique part of the film's legacy. Career-wise, Cindy Pickett was a reliable and talented actress who worked steadily in television and film. She had a major role in the medical drama Saint elsewhere and appeared in numerous series over the decades. She never sought the blinding spotlight of superstardom, preferring the steady work of a character actress. As she matured, she moved away from the hustle of Los Angeles, seeking a more grounded life. Pickett's life has been defined by grace and adaptation. She navigated the difficulties of divorce and the challenges of an aging industry with dignity. She focused on her children and her craft, exploring writing and other creative outlets. The connection between Katie Bueller and Cindy Pickett is the maternal heart. Katie would do anything for her family, and Cindy Pickett has dedicated her life to raising her children and maintaining her family's well-being even after the dissolution of her marriage. Today, at the age of 77, Cindy Pickett is still active, recently appearing in the soap opera General Hospital. She remains a beautiful and elegant presence, a working actress who looks back on her time as Mrs. Bueller with fondness, having lived a life full of love work and the unique experience of marrying her fictional husband. Jennifer Grey as Jeannie Bueller. Jennifer Grey played Jeannie Bueller, Ferris's resentful and angry sister. While everyone else worshipped Ferris, Jeannie saw through his lies and burned with jealousy. Her character arc from bitter antagonist to a liberated accomplice thanks to a makeout session with Charlie Sheen's character was integral to the film. Grey portrayed teenage angst with a relatable intensity, her scowl becoming as iconic as Ferris's smile. Following the success of Ferris Bueller, Jennifer Grey skyrocketed to superstardom with Dirty Dancing 1987. "Nobody puts baby in a corner" became a legendary line, and she became America's sweetheart. She seemed poised to rule Hollywood. However, her career took a drastic and unexpected turn due to a personal decision. In the early 90s, she underwent rhinoplasty, a nose job. The surgery was meant to refine her looks, but instead rendered her unrecognizable. She famously said, "I went into the operating room a celebrity and came out anonymous." It was the career-killing moment. She lost the unique look that made her special. For years, Jennifer Grey struggled to regain her footing. She appeared in guest roles, including a poignant self-parody in Friends, but the leading lady status had evaporated. Her life was also marked by physical pain. A car accident just before the premiere of Dirty Dancing involving Matthew Broderick left her with chronic neck pain for decades. Yet she did not let bitterness consume her. She married actor Clark Gregg, raised a daughter, and focused on finding happiness away from the spotlight. Her resilience shone through in 2010 when she competed in and won Dancing with the Stars. It was a triumphant return, proving that her talent and spirit were untouched by the surgery or the years. She embraced her past, reclaimed her narrative, and showed the world that she was more than just a nose job or a dance movie. The connection between Jeannie and Jennifer is one of finding peace. Jeannie spent the movie angry at the injustice of the world before finally letting go. Jennifer Grey spent years dealing with the injustice of a fickle industry, but eventually found peace within herself and her new identity. Today, at the age of 64, Jennifer Grey is entering a new chapter. Following a divorce, she has published a memoir, Out of the Corner, reclaiming her story with honesty and wit. She continues to act and remains a beloved figure, a symbol of resilience and the courage to reinvent oneself when life changes the script. Charlie Sheen as Boy in Police Station. In a cameo that lasted only a few minutes, Charlie Sheen played the boy in Police Station, a drugged-out leather jacket, wearing delinquent who encounters Jeannie Bueller. With messy hair and sunken eyes reportedly achieved by staying awake for 48 hours straight, Sheen oozed a dangerous, rebellious charisma. He was the antithesis of Ferris, dark, brooding, and cynical. Yet he offered Jeannie the sage advice she needed to stop worrying about her brother. At the time, Charlie Sheen was a rising star, Hollywood royalty on the ascent. His career post-Ferris exploded with acclaimed roles in Platoon and Wall Street, establishing him as a serious, dramatic actor. Later, he showcased his comedic chops in Hot Shots and eventually became the highest-paid actor on television with the sitcom 2.5 Men. He was the golden boy who could do no wrong, possessing a Midas touch that turned every project into gold. But Charlie Sheen's real life became a script more chaotic and destructive than any movie. His struggles with substance abuse, alcohol, and volatile relationships became tabloid fodder for decades. The bad boy persona he played in the police station became his reality. His life spiraled into a series of public meltdowns, most notably in 2011 when he was fired from his hit show and embarked on a bizarre media tour ranting about tiger blood and winning. It was a spectacle of self-destruction broadcast to the world. Then came the sobering revelation in 2015. Sheen publicly announced that he was HIV positive, a diagnosis he had hidden for years. This moment seemed to mark a turning point. The wild partying and erratic behavior gave way to a more humbled man focused on his health and sobriety. He retreated from the spotlight to focus on raising his children and rebuilding the bridges he had burned. The connection between the role and the man is almost prophetic. The boy in the police station was a lost soul with a hidden wisdom. Charlie Sheen has been a lost soul who, through immense pain and public humiliation, has had to find hard-earned wisdom. Today, at the age of 59, Charlie Sheen is attempting a quiet comeback. He is working on new projects and reconciling with old colleagues. His journey is a testament to the extreme highs and lows of fame, a survivor who has walked through fire and is still standing, hoping for a third act that brings redemption. Alan Ruck as Cameron Fry in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Alan Ruck played Cameron Fry, Ferris's hypochondriac, anxious, and deeply unhappy best friend. Cameron was the soul of the movie. While Ferris was the fantasy, Cameron was the reality. He was the one with the cold father, the one afraid of the future, the one who needed to take a stand. Alan Ruck's performance was nothing short of brilliant. At age 29, playing a 17-year-old, he captured the raw vulnerability and neurotic humor of a teenager on the edge. The scene where he destroys the Ferrari is a moment of pure catharsis that elevated the film from a teen comedy to a drama about self-worth. For a long time, the role of Cameron was both a blessing and a curse. Ruck was so convincing as the neurotic teen that Hollywood struggled to see him as anything else. For years, he worked steadily but quietly, taking roles in Spin City and Speed, yet the shadow of Cameron loomed large. He faced personal hardships as well. In 2002, he nearly died from a rare blood infection called streptococcal G, which led to a stroke and a collapse. He had to fight for his life and relearn how to speak and move, a terrifying ordeal that gave him a new appreciation for existence. But Alan Ruck is a late bloomer in the best sense. Just when it seemed his career had settled into the rhythm of a reliable journeyman actor, he landed the role of Connor, Roy in the HBO phenomenon Succession, 2018 to 2023. As the delusional, forgotten eldest son of a media tycoon, Ruck delivered a career-defining performance. Suddenly in his 60s, he was an it boy again, nominated for Emmys and celebrated by a new generation of fans. The connection between Cameron and Alan is profound. Cameron Fry spent the movie afraid of living only to destroy his father's car and decide to face his life. Head-on Alan Ruck faced death in real life and a stagnant career only to emerge stronger, finally smashing the glass ceiling to achieve the acclaim he always deserved. Today, at the age of 68, Alan Ruck is enjoying the peak of his career. He is happily married to actress Mireille Enos and is a father to a young family. His journey is the ultimate underdog story. The anxious sidekick who waited his turn survived the storms and finally became the main character of his own life. Edie McClurg as Grace. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Edie McClurg played Grace, the school secretary with a towering beehive hairdo and a fiercely protective and slightly gossipy loyalty to Ed Rooney. She was the comic relief to the villain, convinced that Ferris was a righteous dude. With her distinct Midwestern accent and improvisational genius, McClurg turned a small role into a scene-stealing performance. She pulled pencils out of her hair and delivered lines with a folksy charm that made her instantly lovable. Edie McClurg's real life was defined by the joy of laughter. She began her career with the legendary Groundlings improv troupe, honing a quick wit that would serve her well throughout decades in Hollywood. She became a staple of 80s cinema, appearing in other John Hughes classics like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But her most prolific work was often unseen. She became a titan of voice acting, lending her unique vocals to beloved characters in Disney and Pixar films like The Little Mermaid, Wreck-It Ralph, and Frozen. She was a workhorse of the industry, a character actress who could fit into any ensemble and make it better. For decades, she lived a life surrounded by friends in the comedy community, known for her kindness and eccentric spirit. She never married, dedicating her life to her craft and her extended family of fellow performers. She was the quirky aunt of Hollywood, always reliable for a smile. However, the final chapter of her story has taken a heartbreaking turn, contrasting sharply with the sharp-witted Grace. In recent years, it was revealed that Edie McClurg is suffering from dementia. This cruel disease has robbed her of the sharp mind that made her an improv legend. Even more tragic, she became the subject of a conservatorship battle, with reports emerging of elder abuse and manipulation by those she trusted. The woman who played the competent know-it-all secretary found herself vulnerable and in need of protection in her own life. Today, at the age of 73, Edie McClurg is living under court-ordered protection. Her journey, once filled with the sound of laughter and applause, has quieted into a struggle for dignity and safety. It is a somber reminder of the vulnerability of aging, even for those who brought so much joy to the world. Lyman Ward as Tom Bueller. Lyman Ward played Tom Bueller, the naive but loving father of Ferris. Unlike the suspicious Rooney or the jealous Jeannie, Tom was completely wrapped. Around Ferris's finger, Ward played the role with a goofy, endearing earnestness. He was the classic 80s dad, busy with work, but soft-hearted when it came to his son. His performance grounded the family dynamic, making the deception all the more hilarious. As mentioned, Lyman Ward's most significant takeaway from the film was his real-life marriage to his co-star, Cindy Pickett. Their romance was the sweet secret behind the scenes. Following their marriage and subsequent divorce, Ward continued to build a respectable career as a character actor. He became a familiar face to moviegoers, appearing in hits like Independence Day and television shows like Jag and The Practice. Ward's life has been one of quiet consistency. He is not a celebrity who chases headlines. He is a craftsman who shows up, does the work, and goes home. He co-founded a production company and has been involved in the independent film scene in recent years. He has lived a quieter life, semi-retired, enjoying the fruits of a long career. The connection between Tom Bueller and Lyman Ward is stability. Tom was the provider, the steady presence in the Bueller home. Lyman Ward has been a steady presence in Hollywood for decades, a reliable actor who could always be counted on to deliver a solid performance. Today, at the age of 83, Lyman Ward lives away from the glare of the paparazzi. While he may not be a household name to the younger generation, his face remains instantly recognizable to anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s. His legacy is tied forever to the Bueller family, both on and off the screen. Ben Stein as economics teacher. In the film, Ben Stein played the economics teacher, a character who was never meant to be iconic, but became legendary with his droning monotone voice. Repetitive Bueller. and dry lecture on the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. He personified the soul-crushing boredom of high school. It was an improvised performance. He was actually delivering an economics lecture off the cuff that stole the show. Stein didn't act. He simply existed in that classroom, creating a comedic vacuum that audiences found hysterical. Ben Stein's real life is a fascinating paradox, far more complex and colorful than the dull teacher he portrayed. He was not a trained actor, but a lawyer and a political speechwriter for Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. He came from a family of intellectuals and economists. His appearance in the movie was a happy accident that launched a completely unexpected second career in Hollywood. He capitalized on his boring persona to become a pop culture fixture, appearing in commercials and movies and eventually hosting his own game show Win Ben Stein's Money, where his vast intellect was on full display. Beyond the screen, Stein remained a vocal and often controversial figure in American political commentary. He wrote columns for major newspapers on finance and politics, maintaining his status as a serious intellectual despite his Hollywood fame. His life has been a blend of highbrow academia and lowbrow entertainment. He is a man who can dissect economic policy in the morning and judge a beauty contest in the afternoon. However, his later years have seen him court controversy with his conservative political views and comments on social issues, which have sometimes alienated the very audience that loved his movie persona. The connection between the role and the man is ironic. The economics teacher was a man no one listened to. Ben Stein is a man who has made a career out of ensuring everyone listens to him. He turned being boring into a lucrative and influential brand. Today, at the age of 80, Ben Stein has largely retired from the entertainment industry, but remains active in political discourse. He lives a life true to his principles, unapologetic about his views. His journey is a unique American story of how a political speechwriter became the most famous teacher in movie history, proving that sometimes a monotone voice can echo louder than a scream.